Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Sometimes it's so rewarding when you notice the jealousy in the statements made by your enemies when they have to admit that you are not as they said you are. In this case, let's make it as a little disclaimer. I'm not for Prigozhin, the boss of Wagner Group. I'm for the truth, which is if Prigozhin does a bad thing, I would say he does a bad thing. When Prigozhin does a good thing, I say he does a good thing. If Zelensky does a bad thing, he does a bad thing. And the same, when Zelensky does a good thing, I call it a good thing. That's how I see things. It is true that I can't, wash my preferences and likes and dislikes and my, ideology that I have brought with me into the conversation. I'm trying to keep it away at times. But when a fact is a fact, I don't care where it comes from, as long as that fact is, proven to be, accurate and real. In this case, we have Prigozhin. Now, Prigozhin is one of the Russian devils, and he cannot have any character. Like many other leaders portrayed by this feeble-minded Western new civilization, where they have to portray the enemy all evil. It doesn't leave any room to wiggle around, and their side as being all good, like godlike. Now, for a normal person, which is above 86 IQ, has been around a block a few times, realizes that this is a childish worldview. It's a kindergarten level, but it works for our cowards in a society, and there's about 40% of us that are really cowards, and then you got maybe about 40 more that are cowards but are trying to hide it. At least they're trying, and maybe you got, I don't know, about 5% of people who are really courageous and able, and then you got the idiots. I'm talking the ones that are reckless, courageous, but they don't know that's reckless. There's no courage anymore. Now, what am I talking about here? We have this Prigozhin, who he's a bad dude, right? He, with his company, private military company, contractor, Wagner Group / mercenary group, he went to the Russian penitentiaries with the approval, obviously, of the Russian government, because they can't just go like that. And they were allowed to recruit volunteers who agreed to this contract. Hey, if you fight for us, for the Wagner Group, for Russia, for whatever reasons, the government promises you that is washing your criminal history, right, and record, and if you survive and you don't get blown up, after you fulfill your time, you come back in Russia as a clean citizen. You washed away your sins. Correct? Correct. Now, because Prigozhin is a bad dude, Wagner is a bad mercenary organization, and all this, on top of everything I said, they're Russians, all that is bad. Now, if that would be in the United States of America, or the good people, that would have been hailed as Prigozhin keeping his word, how courageous and patriotic those former criminals, they deserve, they washed away their sins. The interpretation will be 180 degrees of the other direction, okay? I guarantee you that. Why? I've seen it before. Look how they interpret Zelensky as being the hero of the world. Well, he's not, okay? I mean, you can tell me that how much you want, but if you know a few things, as I said, if you went around the block a few times, you realize who's who, what's what. Anyway, let's see what's going on here with the bad dude Prigozhin. That's why I said courage is courage regardless who engages in it. If it's my enemy, even if it's against my own interest and my own, against my loved ones, I don't like it, but courage is courage. You know what I mean? But no, these guys are incapable of doing that. They never read the ancient Greeks or Roman. They didn't. They are Old Testament kind of people, if you know what I mean. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. It's not no nobility. Just they didn't probably read. I don't know, what should I say? Maybe I don't know, Trojan War. What's his name? Homer. Yeah, it's okay. Now, chief of Wagner PMC releases first group of criminals who fought in Ukraine, lifting all convictions. This article comes from Ukrainska Pravda, and it's from January 5, 2022. So they fought, fulfilled their military, requirements or the contract. Now they're free. I think it's a good deal. Here in the United States, they want to get the convicts, the ones with felonies, just get them out, just forget about it without doing anything. So they can be again productive members of the society without proving anything, without doing anything. I mean, in our history, in our civilizations, in our literature, remember that when some a hero became hero after he achieved certain kind of things like, I don't know, get Hercules, right? The 10th, how do you call them? I can't remember in English how you say it. Attempts, struggles. He had to do that to achieve something. And then he, even Jesus Christ had to go through certain kind of, painful and follow the whatever was written for him. To be what? To show the way for all of us, right? And he suffered for us, in order for us to show us the way. So through personal sacrifice, you redeem something, you achieve something. Here in the United States, they let you know that you can, if you don't do anything, you will earn, there will be awarded a trophy. There you go, first place, Emil, you didn't do anything. You're as good as the person who trained hard. Why? Because they want to build my self-esteem that I should not have built, because I don't deserve it. Self-esteem you achieve and you build through achievements, personal achievements. That means you have to work hard. You have to sacrifice for that. If you do that, you don't deserve to have a self-esteem. Why would you deserve to have a self-esteem? Because it's going to be a false self-esteem. You say, I'm good in mathematics. Okay. How many classes do you pass? Have you been tested? No, but I'm good. No, that's false confidence. So, Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of Wagner private military company, has released the first batch of criminals who had been recruited for the war against Ukraine from prisoners. The convicts have also had all their convictions removed. Details. Russian propagandists have posted a video of Prigozhin talking to criminals. According to him, society should treat them, quote-unquote, with respect. Talking to criminals. If you talk here, if you say here that those guys who enter this country illegally, you call them illegal aliens, they fire you. But these guys are calling those guys criminals for what they are. For what they are. Prigozhin claims that many of those who had been imprisoned in the camps had only a few days left before being released, and they went to the war of aggression because they just wanted to defend their homeland. Propaganda. Some of them might, some of them might not. But finally, Prigozhin has given a piece of advice to criminals. These guys, I have no problem calling them what they are. Do not drink too much. Do not use drugs. Do not rape women, he concluded. Beautiful advice. Oh, it's not beautiful because it comes from the bad dude? Okay. On 4th of July 2022, Russian media iStories reported that convicts in the colonies of St. Petersburg have been recruited as volunteers to go to the war in Ukraine as part of Wagner PMC. On July 20th, 2022, the news outlet reported that Wagner PMC was recruiting Russian convicts for service from about 15 prisons throughout Russia. Later, it was reported that almost all convicts from the Russian colonies recruited by Wagner PMC for the war in Ukraine had been killed. In September of 2022, Prigozhin, commenting on reports of the recruitment of convicts to participate in the war against Ukraine, suggested that those who disagree with such recruitment send their children to the front line. Well, propaganda and counter-propaganda, information and disinformation. The fact is, those guys were volunteers, they agreed to the contract, they went over there. That's their choice and their life basically. Now, obviously the truth is somewhere in the middle from what the Ukrainians say and what Prigozhin say. What Prigozhin say is too beautiful in a way that, oh my God, we respect and all that. It's not impossible. And what the Ukrainians are saying, no, it's all bad and it's criminals, which could be possible, to the extent that they don't like each other. They're at war. The situation is like this. If I would be a criminal and I would be in a prison and it would be one of Prigozhin coming and telling me, hey, you come and fight for whatever, for your freedom, and we're going to let you go. And I'm thinking, okay, how many years I got here? 20 years, or let's say how much, I don't know, because there are some people that were not allowed to go and fight from those criminals. Not any rapist and all that were allowed to go as far as the information was provided. But let's say I have a certain kind of years and I'm making cost benefit. And I'm thinking, well, I think I'm a smart guy, I'm strong, I'm good, I will survive. I'll go. And then the thing, I'm going to always think Prigozhin will not keep his side of the bargain. That means they say, okay, how long do I have to fight? Well, 6 months. I'm pretty sure after 6 months they will do like the French Foreign Legion weasels. They will promise you something and then they will say, no, you need to sign again in order for you to get French citizenship. Thank you very much. Slap. That's how the French did with the Foreign Legion. I know that for a fact. Okay? So the same. This guy's going to say after 6 months, hey, Prigozhin, I'm ready to go. Go home. And Prigozhin say, no. You need about 3 more months, and only after that we're going to let you go. 6 months that we talked about is just for you to wash your sins. Now, if we want us to let you go back in the society, you got 3 more months. This is how the French weasels kind of did, and this guy, I don't know if they do it right now. I have the information for some time. So the same here. I would expect that coming from Prigozhin, even worse than that. But hey, if it comes from the French, from the legionnaires, we are the free world and blah 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 blah. What about Prigozhin, who's the devil, right? It should be expected. So I don't know. I would accept doing that, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would try to desert, to run away. But if you run away, I think it's even worse because you're going to be caught in the somewhere in Russia, and you're going to have your criminal record expunged. That's one thing. The other thing, you're going to be shown as a deserter. So that means hammer in your head. Anyway, believe what you want. I think that if Prigozhin did that, it's just fulfilling his contract with those guys. And if those guys did that, good for them. That was their decision, and they risked their lives, unlike us sitting down here and there and wherever and philosophizing. We didn't commit crimes, that's for sure, but at least, you know what I mean? They did something to redeem themselves, good or bad. You can say, well, they did this. And, well, that's their government's decision, and it's not for me or for Biden to say, well, that's wrong, because a lot of things are wrong here, perceived by other countries. If we just look at each and everybody else's house, how they run their business over there, then it's going to be a crazy world. And unfortunately, it's one country who usually does that. And but nobody else is supposed to look in their country, but they look at everybody and tell them how to run things. Anyway, and those are the good ones. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.